But yeah, this is always actually this is a generally for me Mother's Day because my mother passed in '99, and but her birthday always falls on the week of Mother's Day. Her birthday is May the 10th, so it's always one of those, you know what I mean, times a year where you just kind of reflect. I at least reflect on some of the things that that she taught me, and she was my main influence growing up. And one of the things that I want to share because for the people that don't know, I'm a writer, and my mother actually instilled that in me before before I didn't even realize what she was doing. As a kid, I was like a little sports fanatic growing up. I was like the little neighborhood prodigy, basketball, baseball. I never really played organized football, but I was pretty good at sports, and that was my passion. So even as a young child, and I have two uncles that were professional fighters, so I always loved boxing as well. But even as a young child, my mother always wanted me to be well rounded. So as with probably most mothers here, you start your kids out with the little children's books and all that kind of stuff. So I had like a little shelf full of books, just kids books that my mother kept at my disposal. And but I always wanted to get out and play ball. So before I could get outside to play ball, I had to read a book. That was the criteria for getting outside. I had to read a book. And so I remember it was getting to the point where I was reading so fast just to get outside. One day my mother stopped me and she's like, "Look, if you can read this doggone fast, you need to be writing your own stuff." So the criteria got changed from reading to writing. So I had to write a story for my mother and my grandmother, a little short story, maybe 2, 3 pages. Had to be entertaining, had to make sense, obviously. And so that was something that she put in me at maybe about 6 years old. And so
Mm.
that was how I learned to write creatively. And it became something that it was a skill that was inculcated in me without me even realizing it, and it just became a part of who I was. So I was pretty good with creative writing all throughout school. But years later, when I started learning how to write screenplays, it came naturally to me. Once I learned the format, it just came to me, and I didn't realize till later on that all of this was really because of what my mother put in me. Without me even realizing it, she just made it a part of who I was as about a 5 or 6 year old. And so years later, you know, and writing, be in this one particular instance, being in a movie theater, watching a movie that I had written, and watching my own work on the screen, being in meetings in Hollywood, and I remember reflecting that you know a lot of the things that I was able to experience, I really owed to my mother as a result of a mindset to achieve more than what you even think you're capable of achieving, and to always understand that you belong wherever your mind tells you you belong. Never to look at anyone as being above you, and so little subtle things, and a work ethic and things that she put in me that I've always been grateful for, and I made those things a part of what I shared with my sons as they grew up as well. So